The family trip had been my mom's idea. One last bonding experience before the real world. Swallowed me whole. That's what she told everyone. That's what she told me. I had just finished community college with honors, my job applications were pending, and I was helping around the house while waiting. But to my parents, that translated to dead weight. We rented a gray Dodge van for the trip. A loop through the countryside, small towns, and state parks. Mom packed snacks for everyone but me. "You'll be fine," she said. "You're not exactly starving." They laughed. My younger brother Lucas, always grinning like a hyena, added, "She eats air for dinner anyway." Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. I sat by the window, headphones in, trying not to cry. My music was off. I just didn't want them to hear how silent I'd become. My father's voice cut through the car like a blade. She better not ruin this trip. I paid for her existence long enough. I was 24, working part-time, and I still paid rent at home. But in their eyes, I was a leech. And they never let me forget it. 3 days into the trip, we pulled into a town I'd never even heard of. Mason Hollow. It was the kind of place you only end up in if you're lost or trying to disappear. 1 gas station, 2 diners, no cell reception. We stopped at a motel to sleep. I offered to run in and ask about rooms. My dad handed me a crumpled $5 bill and said, "Here, buy yourself some self-respect." I walked into the lobby with tears stinging my eyes. When I came back out, the van was gone. At first, I thought maybe they'd gone to get food. Maybe they were playing a cruel joke. I waited 10 minutes, then 20, then over an hour. Finally, I asked the motel receptionist if anyone had left a message. She looked uncomfortable and handed me a torn napkin. On it, in my mom's handwriting, it said, "Let's see how she survives without us now. Crawl if you want to catch up." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat down on the curb and stared at the dirt-streaked pavement like it would explain what I'd done to deserve this. By nightfall, I still hadn't moved. A man eventually approached me, a thin, middle-aged custodian from the nearby shelter, who'd noticed me sitting alone. "You all right?" he asked. His name was Clarence. His voice was calm, like wind rustling through a cornfield. I didn't speak for a while. When I finally told him, his jaw tightened. "You come with me," he said. "We'll figure this out." The homeless shelter was nothing like I imagined. No screaming, no chaos, just tired people trying to survive. Clarence gave me a bunk, a blanket, and a warm meal. He sat with me while I ate, silent, kind. For the first time in years, someone was kind. That night, I cried myself to sleep on a plastic mattress with chipped foam poking through, but my tears were quiet. I had learned to be quiet. The next morning, I asked Clarence if I could help around the shelter. I cleaned bathrooms, served meals, folded donated clothes. He didn't stop me. Every time I tried to thank him, he waved me off. A week passed. No one came looking for me. No police report. No check-ins. Not even a text. They had truly, fully left me behind. One afternoon, a woman came to the shelter looking for help. She had 2 young kids clinging to her legs and bruises on her arms. She couldn't speak English well, but she looked me in the eyes and whispered, "Safe." I found myself standing taller. I nodded. "You're safe here." And I realized I wasn't useless. Over the next month, Clarence taught me how the shelter operated, where the food came from, how to manage donations. He let me shadow him, then trusted me with real responsibilities. He told me one evening while sipping bad coffee on the porch, "You were never the problem, sweetheart. You were just in the wrong house." 2 months passed, then 3, and I never once heard from my parents. But I no longer waited. Instead, I applied for a certificate program in social work, Clarence's idea. I got in, I saved every stipend dollar, I took up a side gig cleaning offices after midnight, and I never stopped helping others. But the part of me that had been abandoned on that motel curb still ached. Until one afternoon, when a man came through the shelter door, carrying a heavy duffel bag and a letter in his hand. He was wearing a dark coat and looked nervous. "Is there a girl named Kennedy here?" he asked. I looked up from the soup counter. "Yes," I said slowly. He handed me the letter, nodded, and left. The envelope had my mom's handwriting. It said, "It's time you came home." I didn't open it right away. Instead, I went to Clarence. "I think they want me back," I whispered. He didn't say no. He didn't say yes. He just looked at me and said, "You have a choice now. That's what makes you different." And I smiled. Because I already knew my answer. I wasn't going back. But I was going to show them who I became without them. And that's when the idea for my revenge first sparked. 3 years passed. Not one phone call, not one visit. The woman who used to call herself my mother hadn't even bothered to lie about missing me. My father, always one to bark orders and belittle from the recliner, seemed to forget I ever existed. And my brother Lucas. He was too busy posting gym selfies and drinking at tailgates to even notice I was gone. But I hadn't been idle. After finishing my certificate, I secured a paid position managing day programs at the shelter. I'd built trust, earned respect, and helped restructure half the damn place. I'd gone from scrubbing donated shoes to leading grant meetings. People listened when I spoke now, especially the families we saved, especially the kids. And thanks to a volunteer accountant named Greg, who'd noticed how I handled inventory logs, I was now taking business courses online, fully funded by a local nonprofit. Turns out I was good at more than surviving. But the part of me they left on the motel curb. The girl with nothing but silence inside her. That part wasn't satisfied. I didn't want just to move on. I wanted them to feel it. Then came the surprise twist of fate. A fundraiser gala to honor the shelter's growth. It was my name on the event flyers. I was no longer just a worker. I was a public face. That's when the media picked up the story. The abandoned girl who rebuilt a shelter that saved thousands. That's what they called me. And that's when my parents saw me again. Not in person. On TV. Smiling. Standing at the podium, I thanked Clarence, the staff, the volunteers. And then, with every camera lens pointed my way, I said I used to believe I was a burden. My own family made sure I did. They left me behind 300 miles from home and said, "Let's see how she survives." Well, this is how. The room went silent. Then the applause shook the chandeliers. 2 weeks later, I received a letter. From my mom. Inside. She didn't apologize. She didn't explain. She just wrote, "Lucas is struggling. Your father had surgery. We could really use your help. No, I'm sorry. No, we miss you." Just a thin veil over their real message. You have value now, so now you matter. I smiled as I folded the letter and tucked into the box I labeled proof. Then came the next part of the plan. I reached out anonymously to a journalist who'd asked for more background on my life. I gave them details. About the trip. The note they left. The emotional abuse I'd endured for years. The journalist asked if I wanted to be anonymous. I said, "No, I want my name on it." Within days, the headline was everywhere. Woman left in homeless shelter by family at 21 now runs the facility that saved her. Subhead. They said, "Let's see how she survives." She did more than that. Suddenly, everyone had questions. Reporters, activists, even neighbors from our old street. The story struck a chord, and the hate mail my parents received didn't take long to surface. How did I know? Because my brother Lucas messaged me. "What the hell did you do? Mom can't go outside without people staring. Dad's friends won't speak to him. Please take it down. You've made your point." But I hadn't. Not yet. So I replied. "I'm just getting started." And I meant it. Because my final move hadn't been played. That was still coming. It was the 20-year anniversary of my old neighborhood's founding. A reunion-style block celebration was being hosted at the community center, complete with food trucks, local news coverage, and nostalgic speeches from longtime residents. And guess who was organizing the whole thing? The local development fund in collaboration with me. I had quietly become a private donor under a different LLC. That meant I helped approve the guest list. So I added 2 names, Jill and Martin Penrose, my parents. They didn't know I was involved. They thought it was an open invite event. When they arrived, my mother was wearing her classic pink cardigan, fake pearls and all. My dad wore his usual smugness, like the world owed him for surviving it. The moment they stepped inside the hall, they froze. There I was, standing at the podium, mic in hand, as the crowd clapped for my opening speech. They hadn't seen me in person in years. But I saw the shift instantly. Their posture tensed. My mother clutched her purse like a shield. My father's jaw clenched. I welcomed the crowd warmly, told them how important this neighborhood had been to me, even as someone discarded from it. I thanked the organizers. I thanked the shelter for making me who I am. Then I paused. There's one more thing I want to say. I told the crowd. Eyes scanning gently. You may have heard the stories of what happened to me. But tonight, I'm not here to speak as a victim. I'm here to offer something I never got. A second chance. Gasps rose. People leaned in. That's when the large projector behind me flickered on and displayed a photo. A blurry motel parking lot. My suitcase in the frame. A note, scribbled in Sharpie, left on top. We'll be back in a few hours. Don't leave. Figure things out for once. My voice didn't waver. This was the note they left me with. 300 miles from home. No phone, no ride, no family. But I figured things out, all right. And now, I'd like to return the favor. From behind the curtain, staff wheeled out a giant cardboard donation check. It was labeled, Penrose Family Fund, $0. Subtext, revoked, on moral grounds. Then came the second blow. The slideshow began to roll. Images of my father mocking me on the porch, caught from old family tapes. My mother snatching food from my hand during Christmas. My brother's party, where they forgot to invite me. They laughed when they left me at the shelter, I told the hushed room. So, I built something. And now they can't even get in. And that was true. I had bought shelter. Quietly, anonymously, through a nonprofit grant and board vote. It was now under a new name. And on its front door hung a photo of me, smiling, with a quote underneath. Not everyone gets a second chance, but everyone deserves a witness. My parents stood frozen, pale, desperate. They tried to walk up to me after the speech. My dad started, listen, we were just. But I held up my hand. If you speak to me, I will make sure this entire city knows everything. I have proof, letters, records, eyewitnesses. This is your second chance. Use it to disappear. My mom's lips quivered. My dad looked small, shrunk, like the weight of the truth had finally pressed down on him. And then came the final move. I handed them an envelope. Inside was a check for $1, labeled for services rendered, teaching me what not to be. They left in silence. They didn't laugh. They didn't look back. They had become exactly what they once accused me of being. Worthless. And me. I walked outside where my shelter kids were waiting, cheering in their handmade t-shirts that said, Survivor. Leader. Home. As one little girl hugged me tight, I whispered. We're not leeches. She smiled. I know. We're the ones who build. And under the golden sky of that summer evening, I realized something. I didn't just survive what they did. I became the reason it ends. For every kid who was ever abandoned like I was, they'll have someone waiting now. Someone like me. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.